Good evening, welcome to Anupali. On this special edition of Anupali, we are on tour in the Roosevelt Valley constituency. Our visits to the constituencies help us to better understand the needs of the people who live in our communities. This allows us to devise more targeted interventions to improve your lives and solve the issues which may negatively impact your livelihoods. On Thursday, I, along with the parliamentary representative, members of cabinet and government officials, visited projects in COPTHALL, MORNE, WOTTEN, WAVEN, TRAFALGAR, LAUDAT, and Fond Cani. Due to time constraints, we were unable to extend our tour, but we plan to visit the other areas in the constituency in the coming weeks. In Trafalgar, we plan to embark on a very aggressive housing initiative to provide safe, resilient shelter for residents there. And in LAUDAT, we will soon determine the most appropriate site for the construction of a multi-purpose community center. And I believe that this is absolutely important for the residents of LAUDAT. And of course, improvement works will soon start on the highly traversed Castle Road, linking COPTHALL to WOTTEN WAVEN, which will benefit not only residents traversing the road, but tourism activity in that area. We are also developing the concept for a vending facility in WOTTEN WAVEN to offer a better experience to visitors. And of course, all of my friends who are vending along the road look forward to a much improved vending facility just for you, my wonderful people there. I also give the green light for various road projects to begin in MORNE and made stops at projects which are at various stages of completion, including the CABANIS wall in the Fokani area. I invite you to come along with us on this tour in the Roosevelt Valley. It was really a wonderful experience. It was a very wonderful visit to the Roosevelt Valley constituency, at least some of the communities within that constituency. And of course to commend the PAL rep, Dr. Mark, for his contact with the people and his understanding of the major priorities as articulated by the residents of those communities. Of course, LAUDAT is a very important village in Dominica, and certainly in the Roosevelt Valley. And we have making a very firm commitment to construct a new resource center, community center, of course, that could serve as a disaster facility and a center for training in LAUDAT. It is an absolute priority based on our interaction with the residents of LAUDAT. Some years ago, we attempted to do so by providing the improvement committee with some funds, but certainly the need in light of Hurricane Maria and our desire to build with greater resilience, this project has certainly mushroomed into something much bigger than we had originally envisaged. So there's a commitment to this.
Something we've always wanted in LAUDAT is a resource center. And we took a look at a few places that we could identify that can possibly take a resource center. A few of the places we saw, obviously you have to consider the topography of the place, and it's a high rainfall area, so we have to consider all of those things when we decide as to where we're going to put the resource center. But that's one of our main goals that we really want to achieve in LAUDAT, so that we can have a nice resource center in LAUDAT. And it's really a resource center within a hub for the development of the village, whether it's to have all our different activities, our learning sessions, and we get the school children get involved in all the different programs. So it's really a hub so that we can develop the village and have lots of activities and lectures and speeches, etc. Besides just being also for hurricane purposes and so forth. And that would mean a lot to the village. So we really want to push that one. We're really on the forefront with that one. That means a lot. The villagers have been looking forward to it. We promise it to them and we deliver our promises. So that one will be dealt with as well. On our way to LAUDAT, We identified, well, we saw all the different areas. We're going to have lots of interventions along the way to LAUDAT so that we can have the road a safer road for us to be moving on all along. But it's just a matter of making sure that we can maintain the road, that it doesn't get into a state that we have to spend too much later down.
The pilot spoke about several interventions which will be made from the junction of the road going to Trafalgar up onto LAUDAT, all the way to the village, and you'll see some edge failures there that we'll be fixing. There'll be some widening of the roads in some areas to enhance road safety, and this is totaling really over $2 million, and we've approved this. We're now going for the contractual phases, and we'll see work started very soon on those interventions. Trafalgar, really, in many parts, housing is a major demand by the residents of Trafalgar. We have some apartments, 12 apartments, yep, that have taken way much longer than anybody would have envisaged to complete. The building is completed, but there are some associated works which need to be completed. And I've asked the Ministry of Housing to push and let us have those keys in the first week of April, so that, because certainly before the 1st of June, people must move into those apartments, because they've been waiting for some time. So we're hoping that by the 1st of June, that the beneficiaries identified can move into those apartments. And of course, we made a commitment to build a significant number of housing units in Trafalgar. We have settled, I believe, on the land, yep, and we will see work started within the next couple of months on those units and so forth. Much to the appreciation and contentment of the residents of Trafalgar. And of course, the pilot has spoken about a project that he is spearheading. Because Trafalgar, the valley, has been known for sports, and the pilot himself being a former national basketball player, understands the importance of sports and wellness, and he's certainly pushing this particular project, which funding has already been identified for, as indicated, because of the heavy rainfall of the valley, and of course the whole intention of the government to take sports to even a higher level, and the having an indoor basketball court in the Roosevelt Valley would no doubt take sports in the Roosevelt Valley, and of course nationally, to even a higher level, because those of us who have gone to watch basketball there understand the frenzy that basketball creates in Trafalgar under any normal circumstances. And so we're committed to doing that.
After we left WOTTEN WAVEN, we went to Lily Valley, where we took a look at a few things. One, we had to look at where we're going to have a new basketball court, the intention of having an indoor basketball court. So that would be the second indoor basketball court in Dominica. And we took a look at that as well. And we also took a look at the area where we can get the housing, the modern resilient housing program. So we just have to discuss, and this is what we do. That's one of our hallmarks as a government. We actually engage the people and we discuss to see what's best for the people. And so in terms of the housing, which is an issue for the village of Trafalgar, and we have it on the foreburner, that is something that means a lot to us, and we really want to get it achieved as soon as possible. So we've been identifying different areas. We had matters in mind, we have Lily Valley in mind, but nonetheless, it will start this year. And we're really going to push for that as well. So, and the basketball, as I mentioned, and then the housing that I didn't mention. In terms of the playing field, we do want to get some lighting for the playing field, and that's on the cards as well. So we're going to push you those ones very much.
In WOTTEN WAVEN, as you know, WOTTEN WAVEN is really a tourism mecca, with so many hot springs and some accommodation and some places to eat. The challenge WOTTEN WAVEN has is the quality of the facilities for vending. What they have now is a major improvement to what they had a few years ago, and they're very grateful. But if we're to extract as many foreign currencies from the tourists coming in, we certainly have to ensure that the vending itself is more pleasant and more comfortable, not only for the vendors, but very importantly, the patrons, the people who come to visit and the people who will come to buy. And so the idea is to build a vending facility with proper washrooms, an interpretation center, a reception hall, and one of the things that we have put to the improvement committee in WOTTEN WAVEN is for them to take ownership of this facility and create a garden, a natural space, a lovely ecosystem that tourists can walk through and enjoy the fruits and vegetables that we have, and while they are exploring and observing the sulfur springs there with amazement, and I believe that they're very excited about this, and we look forward to assisting them in advancing this particular project and the wider program that we have suggested to them. So we see this as having the potential of really dramatically improving the opportunities for the folks in WOTTEN WAVEN. And those of us who know WOTTEN WAVEN very well, as is the case of myself and the father, a lot of women vendors, and they're the ones who are really piling the trade, and I believe they need a hand up, and I believe the provision of this improved facility will certainly give them the kind of confidence that they need. I know that there's been talk in the village that we're going to be displacing the existing spas, we're going to be displacing the existing restaurants. No, this is not the case at all. The whole idea of this facility is to complement that which already exists in the WOTTEN WAVEN area, so that more people come in, more opportunities for the other spas to make money, for the vendors to make money, for those who sell food and beverage to make money, and that's the whole idea behind this.
In WOTTEN WAVEN, we then went to Livia Blah. That's where Shangri-La is, and that's where most of the tourists come and they stop to take a little peep and to look at the hot springs. And what we want to do there is really modernize the place. And we want to modernize the place, but at the same time, we do not want to compromise the entrepreneurship of the villagers. So we have to strike a balance. So obviously we'll upgrade the vendors arcade and have some really nice vending booths. We'll also have proper washroom facilities for our visitors and our guests. We'll have a little restaurant as well. We have a nice car park, and we're going to really landscape the place nicely, so it can really be a real beautiful place for our visitors, and whether it's foreign or local visitors to come to. So we have all that planned for the Shangri-La part, which is the Livia Blah part of the WOTTEN WAVEN. And I think when we are done, that would really develop the tourism product in the WOTTEN WAVEN area.
Mount Prosper is a place that we've spent a lot of money in the last 5 years. I mean, in roads alone, we would have spent in excess of $12 million in Mount Prosper in the last 5 years. Significant amount of money. We've improved the school. We have constructed roads to Robinson, where they have the farms. We have constructed the basketball court. We are nearing completion of a very expensive water system that will house some 60,000 gallons of water, and that will certainly help with agriculture in particular, especially during the dry season.
Mount Prosper is a farming village, and what's so important for farmers is water and irrigation and access to their farms. So we visited the new water supply system in Mount Prosper. We have the water comes from WOTTEN WAVEN, is pumped up to Mount Prosper, have a very massive storage tank up there, and then all the lines coming down to the rest of the village. So it will be interesting to see that with this new water supply system for Mount Prosper, not only it will help us domestically, because during the dry season, the Kawem, what will happen is that we have a little shortage of water in Mount Prosper. And in the rainy seasons, well, we have another issue in terms of the quality of the water. But with this new water system, we solve both problems. And so from a domestic point of view, it's an excellent intervention. And let alone the domestic part, we have to consider the farming part. And it will be interesting to see our productivity in our farms should increase because of a better water system and the possibility for irrigation as well.
The MORNE Prosper Water Supply Project, it started off as a BNTF funded project in the amount of $700,000. We had to make a further capital injection in the amount of $803,000 that we did together with DOASCO to complete the project. Right now in the MORNE Prosper area, we have already constructed a 60,000 gallon storage tank. The water lines from the water intake to the pump have already been built. The pump house has been constructed also in WOTTEN WAVEN. The water pumps have also been procured by DOASCO, and they are in the process of installing these pumps. Distribution lines remain to be installed in the community of MORNE Prosper. So that is certainly a project that we are pleased with. We are certainly happy with the investments and the kindness of BNTF as well for considering the good people of MORNE Prosper. We are happy about the improvements that will be made in the water supply in that area, and we are satisfied that there will certainly be more stability in water supply and resilience added to the water supply and distribution network in that area.
And of course, we're looking at a couple additional interventions. Overbridge that has been spoken about. I believe going there and engaging the local people, we have found a good solution to the problem. So it's always good to this is what, and Dr. Mack mentioned it, one of the legacies of this government and this party is engaging people, listening to them where they live, where they work, and getting from them solutions to the problems. A real bottom-up approach to governance, which enhances democracy and the empowerment of people. And so just going there and listening to this individual who's lived there all his life and who's farming there, he gave us a solution. We had all engineers with us and so on, and they hired very bright engineers, including our Minister for Public Works. But this person is the one who gave us a solution to the problem. And so it's not for the engineers now to follow and to put the engineering aspect to the recommended solution to this challenge.
In MORNE Prosper, we also visited the road that is close to the playing field. So if you get into the area called MORNE Hill, so that would be the exit road if you were to come out from MORNE Hill. And we need to get this road fixed. We have quite a few villagers in that area that access that road, and it's been a little difficult of late. And I was really pleased that the Prime Minister could come there, and then we took a look at it. So that will be dealt with as well. We just had a little glimpse of our new basketball court and the boards and the fencing at the school. So these are some of the major things we did see in MORNE Prosper.
The folks in COPTHALL, I think they owe us some money or something, because we've spent so much money improving the roads in COPTHALL, a one street, a one road community that has taken so much money. I mean, I have to tell the Minister of Public Works, enough is enough. Let's stop there and let us reassess. Let us reassess the situation, because I mean we 8 million and going, but certainly the residents, they can't complain. They can't complain. I think they need to give all of the commendation to the power up there for the interventions and the controlling of the water by Sheikh Ophir and by Mr. Williams, the former deputy fire chief, and in between, controlling the water into the drains and out into the river. Certainly enhance the safety of the residents and their homes and their properties there. Things that people should have done for themselves, really, because it's private property. But we are a conscientious government, we are a caring government, and we always reach out and help.
We took a look at the drainage system and the road that was built in COPTHALL. So it's a brand new road, excellent drainage systems. It's almost in completion. Just the last, over 95% complete. Just the last. Some secondary drains to join into the main drainage of the road system. That's very significant in the fact that after Hurricane Maria, we had a serious in terms of the water that was coming from the MORNE Prosper Hill down into COPTHALL, that posed a serious problem to us. And with this new system, the drainage system, even the secondary drains, that tends to serve, it really solves the problem. So we're pretty happy about that in COPTHALL, and the community is very pleased as well.
And of course, for the other important part in I'm sure the minister is with regards to WOTTEN, WAVEN and the original road. And of course, I'll leave that to the Minister of Public Works to speak more in details about also what we intend to do.
While we speak of the Castle Road, it was interesting that we went on this road. For the most part, the Castle Road has been a bypass from MORNE Prosper Road to WOTTEN WAVEN. And we would all recall that following Hurricane Maria back in 2017, we would have experienced a major slide slightly inland of Skerrit. And Public Works made numerous attempts to clear that road, and what they finally established was that the bypass along the Castle Road really is safer than the previous alternative, because what we see is the major rocks and boulders still somewhat precipitously perched over that existing road, and there are challenges with stability. So the option on the table right now for further review and consideration is to continue to enhance that Castle Road. And
at Castle, we have some interventions to undertake there. They are quite extensive, so we're going to do it in phases. And the Minister will describe the phases to us, but that is of prime importance to us. That's where all the tourists pass to get to the sulfur springs and the spas in WOTTEN WAVEN, so it's very important. And let alone for the tourists, it's just for the safety of the villagers as well, and those of us who use the road in WOTTEN WAVEN. So that is a very big intervention for us, and I think it will meet the valley very well when we get it done.
From our initial designs and cost estimates, we're seeing that the cost would be in the region of $2.9 million. Hence the reason, because of this major investment, Honorable McIntyre, the power up of the area, suggested that we would adopt a phased approach. And that road is very important for general access to the people of the communities of WOTTEN WAVEN, and provides that linkage to MORNE Prosper as well. But even so, this area is not only the vegetable basket, but it's a hub for tourism. And we have identified 2 areas along that road where we have somewhat, I would call it hairpin bends, and it provides, it renders difficulty in access for the larger coaster buses that we have. So, you know, in terms of incorporating that resilience in our road network and even our tourism products, we are considerate of that as well, to improve the horizontal alignment along that road. So we expect it to commence very soon. We have all our designs completed. I'm grateful for the work by our engineering team and the team at Public Works, and we are really and truly excited for the people of that area to commence further improvements on that Castle Road.
Then we came down to CABANIS. That's the CABANIS wall. That's just after Forkani, before you reach Palm Grove. There's a massive intervention taking place there. We have to recognize that this is the main road to enter into the tourism capital, and the last thing we'd want is for this edge failure to become worse, and then we have an issue that we'd have to pass all the way through WOTTEN WAVEN, which isn't the most convenient. So we're really pushing. We're trying to get it done as soon as possible, and the Minister will do the technical aspect of that one. But the CABANIS road, let alone from a safety point of view, from a hurricane point of view, from a tourism point of view, it's a very, very important intervention.
I will first put this project into perspective. Yet another major failure from Hurricane Maria in 2017. And to put this into perspective, we are speaking of an area that is really 100 meters long. We're talking about a playing field in terms of length, and the depth of failure is 17 meters. So we're on the order of above 50 feet, approaching 60 feet. And when I speak to 60 feet, I'm speaking of 2 containers stacked, a 40-foot container and a 20-foot container, one on top of the other. So that is the depth of failure that we are really looking at in terms of getting a true appreciation of the enormity of the scope of work in that area. Because this failure is so deep that the engineers determined that you could not have one wall full length for 17 meters or 60 or so feet. So the wall is 3-tiered. One tier is completed right now. That is done at the riverbed at this moment, and the contractor is in the process now of backfilling this wall to prepare for the second tier. The third tier will eventually be done last. It is stage construction, and we have to ensure that we allow the 28 days for curing of the concrete before we can allow for any type of loading on that wall. This project is about $1.9 million by way of cost, and we're expecting that sometime by June we will be completed with that. If you drive along this area right now, you will observe that it is effectively one lane at this moment, and we are hoping that beyond June of this year we would have reestablished the road completely. So we are pleased about the progress on this road as well, and we just want everyone to certainly appreciate the engineering considerations that took place on this wall, and I'm grateful to the engineers and the team that we have at Ministry of Public Works. We certainly have a talented team, and it's my distinct honor and privilege to be working alongside public officers with that dedication and talent.
It's been a very wonderful visit. This is part of my broad engagement of the whole country, going constituency by constituency, community by community. I'd also say to the folks of Cochrane, we did not forget you. We had to stop because we had other engagements today, but certainly we're going to come to Cochrane. Cochrane is a place that has received, many people say more than its fair share, in terms of investments. But there are a couple of little things that we have to do. I believe there's a road from the new housing by the playing field to go back to my friend Mr. Richard's home that we need to do, and that will come in very soon. And there may be a few people in between whom still need some housing consideration and so forth.
But in Cochrane, yes, we've done a lot. The main road to Cochrane, most of us will admit that is one of the better roads in Dominica, and that was completed last year. We spent quite a few million, almost 12 to 13 million, if I'm not mistaken. And we still have and it's a very nice road, well maintained as well. Also in Cochrane, we had some housing interventions. We built 10 single unit houses in Cochrane, which we gave out to the residents last year. So Cochrane has got a very lovely road system, and they also have a good housing system. As I said, 10 units were done there. We also have more plans for Cochrane because it's a farming community as well. So we are engaging the farmers in the near future. COVID had little limitations in terms of our distancing and trying to get together and plan a lot of these things. But now, since the things have been a little more quiet than it has been in the past, and we getting to move forward, so we engage in the farmers so that we can get all the assistance and the subsidies and the material to them, etc.
And of course, there are a number of people who are benefiting from the home restoration project that we funded from the World Bank within the Roosevelt Valley, across the Roosevelt Valley. And of course, we ourselves will be adding up to this by building additional homes. So we will be investing heavily in tourism in the Roosevelt Valley, because that's the bread and butter for many of the residents in the Roosevelt Valley, and agriculture. We will certainly be promoting these two things, because these two things come hand in hand. The more people we have coming in our country, the more food and vegetables that we consume, and fruits, and so that farmers have this market locally to make a living and earn wealth for themselves. So I don't think there's any better time to be a resident of the Roosevelt Valley. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Anupali. I look forward to being in your part of Dominica very soon. I assure you, this visit will continue, as I always welcome the opportunity to go one-on-one with you as we continue to work together to build our land. May God bless you. Do have a productive and blessed week. Goodbye. Let's go forth and serve our God and our country. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.